Minash-shaytanir-rajim. Bismillahir-rahmanir-rahim. Assalamu-alaikum. Ji ayanu pakhairagale ni hao chunashum washmale. Ohio Gonzaimas, Gusabogan, Ola, Bojo, Privyat, Kaifahal, Halishumachatore, Alan Vasal Marhaba, Buna Mucho Gracia, Swabia, Bali Kariaya, Hosh Galden and Iosayo, Huyamora, Chivato, Chiajot, Kalimera, Kherutan, and a very warm welcome to everybody who's tuned into PTV World and watching World this morning and are ready to kickstart their week with us. It's a fine Monday morning over in Islamabad. I'm really lucky that I've been joined by my wonderful colleague who happens to be Miss Eesha Rehan. I happen to be Shahzad Hassan Khan, and we hope and pray that everybody out there is doing wonderfully well and that you're ready to kickstart your week or day with us. But first things first, hello Eesha, assalamu alaikum. How was your weekend?
Walaikum assalam, Shahzad. I feel absolutely great. You know, my weekend was kind of dull, which is why I was very excited to join work on this fine Monday morning. And I have a message for everyone watching, and that is, you know, people usually wake up grumpy and mopey for Monday work. But, you know, we are here to spread smiles and make sure that you stay happy and excited.
Which is why I have this question for you, and that is, did you wake up grumpy today? I think so. I think so. Because this is the very first time that I've actually caught this vibe of you as well, that you probably might not be 100%, but you're getting there. I think it's great. It's great to get started with that as well.
But you know what makes me happy is that, you know, last week we knew that you were a little under the weather, but I feel like you actually listened to my advice and you did the onion hack, which is why you're feeling exceptionally great.
I did do the onion hack because I was like, how can I actually, you know, put onion right under my foot, and that too, you know, with the foil paper whatsoever you advised, because it was food and it was an item of food as well, which is why I didn't do that. But shukr, alhamdulillah, I'm doing pretty much well as well. And, you know, obviously, you know, we are experiencing pre-monsoon weather over here in Islamabad and, you know, elsewhere in the country. So I think it's going to kind of bring down the, you know, incidences of all of those allergies that people have been getting, which is why,
you know, rain occurred in the upper parts of the country. The Met Office predicted more monsoon pour down till tomorrow with occasional gaps. According to the Met Office, dust, windstorms and thunderstorms are likely to happen in Kashmir, Khyber Pakhtunkhwa and northeast Punjab. Isolated heavy rainfall is likely in Kashmir, Potohar region and upper Khyber Pakhtunkhwa. However, mainly hot and humid weather is expected in most parts of the country during the forecast period.
Exactly, and we will certainly be updating you in times to come, you know, about what the weather is going to look like in days. But ladies and gentlemen, there are a few international days that we really need your attention to, or put our attention towards that as well. And the reason is that today the world is actually observing the United Nations Public Service Day. The United Nations Public Service Day is observed to promote the value and virtue of public service to the community, highlight the contribution of public service in the development process, recognize the work of public servants, and encourage people to pursue careers in the public sector.
And talking about how Pakistan has been shining exceptionally, we talked about so many newses last week about how Pakistan shined in sports. So let's dive into what is happening today. Pakistan's Awais Ullah Munir, Mohammad Asif and Mohammad Sajad win their matches on the opening day of 6 Red Snooker Championships in Colombo. Awais Munir outplayed Chi Kin Chan of Mako and China by 4-2 frames. Awais Munir won the second match by Zubair Rahman Azad of Bangladesh by 4-0. Mohammad Asif outplayed Meaning Tola of Colombia by 4-1 frames, while Mohammad Sajad defeated Khalil Busaf in Buran by 4-0.
And not just that, from obviously congratulations to all of those Pakistani athletes who are performing. But ladies and gentlemen, let's bring it back to Pakistan, which actually, you know, obviously our national sport is hockey, and we've been doing phenomenally well in hockey, and certainly we've been giving you updates on FIH Cup. So New Zealand beat Pakistan in the final of the FIH Nations Hockey Cup by 6-2, which is unfortunate, but Pakistan did make it to the finals. I think we should be proud of it. And not just that, I think what we really need to kind of do over here is bring a lot of attention, and not just the Pakistani athletes. I think I would love to thank the sponsors of the Pakistan hockey team, because they've done phenomenally well. Unfortunate for Pakistan to actually lose the final of the FIH Cup against New Zealand, but they did pretty well, you know, so a big round of applause for them. And thank you so much for doing that as well. But in addition to this, ladies and gentlemen, imagine that Canada is actually qualified for the 2026 World Cup, and that's exactly something that they cannot keep calm about. And speaking of that, I think it must have been really difficult for Canada to come to a stage.
Canada became the 13th team to qualify for the 20th Team Men's T20 World Cup by 2026 to be held in India and Sri Lanka. In the Americans regional qualifying finals, Canada beat Bahamas by 7 wickets in Ontario. How fascinating.
Exactly. So congratulations to Canada, and it's a great feat that you have achieved as well. But not just that. Now I'll bring it back to, so we have spoken about snooker. We've spoken about hockey. We've spoken about cricket. We cannot leave football behind, and especially if the football is made in Pakistan. So imagine, ladies and gentlemen, that we do know, and in fact the world knows, that the footballs which are being used in the FIFA World Cups or the FIFA Cup World Cup as well, ladies and gentlemen, are being produced over here in Pakistan, and it shows a lot of grit and resilience the industry of Pakistan actually holds. And to kind of speak about it, we're very lucky that we've actually been joined by the chairman Forward Sports, who happens to be Mr. KHAWAJA MASOOD AKHTAR. Hello sir, assalamu alaikum, good morning.
Walaikum assalam wa rahmatullah, Janab. Good morning to everybody.
Sir, thank you so much for joining us. Wonderful to have you over here. First of all, congratulations, because Pakistan made FIFA Club World Cup 2025 ball wins global praise for innovation and performance. What do you have to say about it?
Yes, I mean, this ball, mashallah, has been made with very special materials. And first of all, I want to tell you about recognition. This ball was among the few balls which the president of USA has posed himself along with his with the ball. So this has got already highest level of recognition in all over the world. And this ball, is being played with the World FIFA Club World Cup now, which is this tournament is going on in USA.
Exactly. And we do know how, the current champions are actually Manchester City, and the most successful club is the Real Madrid, because they've won the title 5 times. Just so that people could actually relate who might not even know or have the idea about the FIFA Club World Cup. But sir, in addition to this, now imagine that there's technology everywhere. We're talking about artificial intelligence and whatnot. Let's talk about the advanced technology and materials, because I've heard that there's a sensor within this football as well. Is that true?
No. In this football, is no sensor, but material has been used in a newly developed way, and this is most sustainable material which has been used.
Yes, please enlighten us about the sustainable material use. As an environmentalist, it made me really happy that 61% of polyethylene and 30% of recycled polyester was used in making this ball. So please tell us more about why this happened.
Yeah, your information is very much correct. Hello.
Gigi,
Yeah,
sir, so what my colleague is trying to ask over here is that the materials that are being used are actually eco-friendly. Why these materials have been used? Is it a guideline which was given to you by the FIFA Club World Cup? And what is the thermo-bonding technique that is being used and the world is talking about it?
This is actually just this type of, the ball was previously made by hand. We call hand stitch balls. Then we had stitching is done by machine. So this technology is we can call it like a seamless. So in this ball or in this special kind of technique, no stitch is being done. So everything is bounded through different kind of technologies, which one of the technology is that the glues are the process we use. The heat is very much important. So it is called thermo-bonded.
I think it's great to know and learn as well how resilient our industry has been. And, obviously, sir, coming from you, which obviously goes by the name of Forward Sports in Sialkot, what I would want to kind of ask you, sir, now is that, that we have known for years that how Pakistan has been manufacturing footballs, and that too for FIFA, or probably FIFA World Cups or FIFA Club World Cup as well. Now, let's talk about the cutting edge technology that you have been always inducting and making sure that you're at the forefront of innovation. How did you make it possible? How did Forward Sports make it possible?
Actually, we have a very strong research and development team, and we have in our factory we have full one floor for the research, and where the researchers sit together, and these are the people who have PhD degrees, and they are engineers, and myself sitting there, and then we are always working on new things, new ways of making balls, new materials to be used in these balls. For example, we made we call a mini ball, which is called airless ball. You don't need to put air anyway. So it is the ball is act like a ball as normal ball. So and we have a patent on that also. So this is the way we are ahead of our competitors. Only one word is research.
You know, and how fascinating. And since your company is now in the spotlight, what does this say about in terms of international recognitions towards our local craftsmanship?
International recognition, I told you already, even the uh, American president was holding this ball in front of everybody. And then, of course, the ball is being played at the highest level. So, Alhamdulillah, our company is selected because we are always innovative. We are ahead of our competitors, and we always present absolutely new things which the companies that don't have a research and development, strong research and development cannot do that.
Exactly, and sir, certainly we have received that feedback as well, where the players of the highest level have actually mentioned that that its flight, maybe its grip, and how the ball is while they're playing. The feedback has been amazing. But sir, let me speak about, or let me ask you about the local competition that forward sports might have to face. Is it just because of the research that you were able to do that, or do you think that Pakistan locally, there's so much more competition that probably if it's today, if it's forward sports, tomorrow it might be somebody else, even though from Sialkot or from Pakistan? Do we have such competition?
We have competition, but because we are doing Adidas, we have Adidas companies, and one more in Pakistan and also in Indonesia. Because highest level, we work like a team, and Alhamdulillah, we are the leaders in that team.
Exactly. Well, that's wonderful, sir. But thank you so much for being with us. We certainly congratulate you on behalf of all Pakistanis for making us all proud. Sort of confidence in our industry and how this always, Pakistanis at the forefront of all of those things that we have been doing, alhamdulillah. Thank you so much. And any future plans that you would want to share with us, that other than FIFA or football or football World Cups, that we will be producing some other sporting goods for the rest of the world. Any future plans?
Actually, we are already doing for the Adidas and some other big brands. The bags we call sports bags. We are already producing that sports bags, and we are the largest factory in Pakistan producing sports bags.
MashaAllah. So I think that's great, sir. Thank you so much for making Pakistan proud and Pakistan's industry and industrialists proud as well. And certainly there are no boundaries for Pakistan, given the platform and the opportunity and the kind of research team that you've put in has certainly done us very well by, obviously because Pakistani made the FIFA Club World Cup 2025 ball actually wins a lot of international praise. Not just that, imagine that, people like, Cristiano Ronaldo, Neymar, and all of those other people who are out there. Yeah. So I think that, for them to say that this is that best football that we would want to play with, I think it's great.
In Pakistan, in Sialkot, it's an honor to be, part of a country that is producing such top quality goods.
Which is why I'm going to ask you today,
Yes.
what would you want to do, which is going to bring a lot of good name to your country?
I think my only hope is swimming, because as we all know by now, I'm an avid swimmer. It's swimming. It's swimming. Since a child, I've been winning a lot of swimming competitions, and my parents always encourage me to go towards swimming.
How fast are you?
I'm pretty fast in freestyle. I think my backstroke is, I look like I'm drowning.
All right, we would want to certainly wish you best of luck as well. If you need to train, please make sure that you start training as of now. You're pretty much in the rhythm, and we would want you to kind of stay in the rhythm as well.
But not
now,
just that, since a child, I have been very fascinated by horses, and I have been, horse riding since a child as well. So, we're very happy to talk about the Shandur Polo Festival that has been happening in Pakistan. And it's not just that, but it's also that different polo festivals happen in the north. There's also one at Babusar Top, and I visited these festivals.
Exactly. I do know for a fact that you're really excited. I do know myself. I've been an equestrian myself. myself, all throughout my life before my back injury. But I think what we need to do is check the weather first and then move towards polo.
Definitely,
What would you suggest?
I would suggest we need to dive into the weather first.
All right, so diving into the weather, ladies and gentlemen, as we have spoken about how Pakistan's pre-monsoon preparedness and public safety guidelines have been issued. Rain has occurred in different parts of the country. We have been in conversation with Pakistan Meteorological Department. They have spoken about it, how the warnings have actually been released and notified to certain different departments, and certainly NDMA, National Disaster Management Authority, happens to be one of them. What we really need to talk about over here is, ladies and gentlemen, that how prepared is NDMA. And there's one conversation that I've always had with them, and that is that NDMA's role come in post-disaster, unfortunately, and that we really need to cater to how we can stop these disasters. To kind of speak about it, ladies and gentlemen, we're very lucky that we will be joined by Ms. ZAHRA Hassan, who happens to be GMGIS NDMA, General Manager, Geographic Information System. Hello, Ms. ZAHRA. Assalamu alaikum. Thank you so much for joining us. Ms. ZAHRA, can you hear us? Okay,
I
so we're
think
still
maybe
trying
there's some
to...
technical difficulties due to the weather.
Exactly,
However,
but it's perfectly
what
all
I'm
right.
very happy about is that last week we discussed how, the blazing heat of the sun was captivating us. But now, since the monsoon rain has started, we have stepped our little tippy toes into some better weather.
Exactly, well, it's still going to be humid, ladies and gentlemen. But let me see if Ms. ZAHRA is with us. Ms. ZAHRA, are you with us? Assalamu alaikum. Okay, I think my team is still trying to figure it out why Ms. ZAHRA cannot hear us, or probably we cannot hear Ms. ZAHRA. So let's see if we can get Mr. HAMZA. Is Mr. HAMZA with us? DM Infrastructure, NDMA Deputy Manager Infrastructure. Mr. HAMZA, are you with us? Okay, I think it's difficult for us to kind of hear them. But in addition to them, I think I would want to kind of speak about another important day before we actually kind of get in conversation with Ms. ZAHRA Hassan and Mr. Hamza Khan. And this day actually speaks about widows, ladies and gentlemen, and I believe it's a very important day and the world really needs to pay heed to it. And International Widows Day is being observed today to highlight and combat discrimination and injustice suffered by widows worldwide. Widows have historically been left unsupported and are often denied inheritance rights and face extreme stigma and discrimination. Worldwide, women are also less likely to have access to old age pensions than men, so the death of a spouse can lead to destitution for older women. The day therefore aims to provide concrete and actionable recommendations across sectors to address the needs of widows suffering human rights violations and discrimination in certain parts of the world. And while this day is really important, I do believe that our society, and in fact the Muslim Brotherhood or the Muslim Ummah has always been very pivotal in making sure that they look after their widows and sisters. And I think it is an obligation of the community and the society to please make sure to look after all of these women. And our religion, Islam, alhamdulillah, gives us pretty much some good
All the
teachings
guidelines,
to kind
yes.
of look after them as well. Now coming back to the weather, ladies and gentlemen, let's see if Ms. ZAHRA is with us. Ms. ZAHRA, are you with us? Assalamu alaikum. Or Mr. Hamza, can you hear us? Can any one of you let us know if you can hear us? Okay, I think we are still trying because NDMA is certainly good with the disaster management, but they might not be good with Skype or Zoom. So
Maybe.
I'm sorry, on a very lighter note, because at times what usually happens is that that usually you are online,
Yeah.
but you really do not know how to unmute your mic. And
Maybe
there's
sometimes.
some little
little
जिसको उर्दू में कहते
technicalities
हैं
and
ईचियाँ
issues that
बीचियाँ होती हैं
happen, but
ईचियाँ
it's all
बीचियाँ
right. It's
वो
all
ईचियाँ
right.
बीचियाँ नहीं पता होती अक्सर
It's
but
all part of being human.
exactly. But while we're speaking about weather, Eesha, I think what we really need to do is that we need to speak about a place where the weather is perfect and where there are horse running and making
And
sure
it is the rooftop of the world with the
Yes.
beautiful views, thematic views and scenery, and lovely horses being ridden by brave riders.
brave riders. I love that. So we actually have a small package. First of all, it's a 3-day festival, ladies and gentlemen, and the world comes to see and witness it. Because imagine that you're at the roof of the world, you see them, the weather's fantastic, it's scenic, it's absolutely stunning. Let's go, let's take a good look at this package first, and once you're going to come back, we will be in conversation with somebody who's still at Shandur. Let's see what do they have to share with us. Let's go, let's take a look.
reporting live from the breathtaking Shandur Polo Festival. We have PTV's correspondent, Miss ANNUM Abbasi. Assalamu alaikum, ANNUM. How are you feeling? And tell us how the vibes are at this Polo Festival.
Assalamu alaikum. Thank you very much for having me on the show. I hope you both are doing great, and I hope that the weather of the capital is doing good as well. When I left, it was very hot.
Just trying to turn the AC on. Can you hear us?
Yes, I can hear you. Can you hear me, Shahzad?
Gigi, we can hear you, and thank you so much for giving our time. So, ANNUM, first things first, obviously, we would certainly want you to share or shed some light on how the festival was. It was a 3-day festival, and certainly you're at an altitude of 12,000 feet where a lot of foreign and Pakistani you polo lovers were there. It was organized in collaboration with Khyber Pakhtunkhwa and Gilgit-Baltistan government, with Pakistan Army and Frontier Corps Khyber Pakhtunkhwa North. How was it?
Yes, Shahzad. This festival is an event which has, no other comparison. It is one of the most anticipated event of the year. And you would have already known that this did not happen last year in 2024 due to some climate or weather issues in the area. But this year, this most anticipated event happened, and there were visitors from all across the world. There were tourists from all across the world who came at the world's highest polo ground to enjoy this one of the most anticipated and unique festivals throughout the world. So we had spectators from all across the world. We had the locals. We had the tourists from all across Pakistan as well. So yes, it was beautifully wrapped up festival. And as you all know, that polo game is a very unique game. For the listeners who are not having a previous report of what polo festival is, this is a unique game in which the participants play the polo while they are sitting on riding the horses. So it is a very unique game in its own. They ride the horses. It is a freestyle polo game. There are 2 teams.
Delighted. We are certainly delighted, and thank you so much, ANNUM, for reporting all the way from Shandur. Thank you so much for letting us know about one of the bestest polo festivals, ladies and gentlemen, which was underway in Pakistan, and that
we
too
should
at
all
an
definitely
altitude of.
plan this for our
अगर
bucket
कभी तो मुझे
list.
मेरी बात खत्म करने दो ना, तो मुझे बहुत ही मजा आया. मैं अल्फाजों का इतना अच्छा चुनाव कर रहा था, लेकिन तुमने बीच में बोलना था. चलो कोई नहीं, खैर है. अब बात तुम कर लो, चलो.
No, I was just
Complete it,
telling the
please.
audience that this polo match should definitely be on our bucket list, and we should definitely go and visit there next year and be excited about all the cultural festivities that are happening.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much. But now there's another addition which I would want to. In fact, I think this is an issue, Eesha, I would want to bring people's attention to, and it's because of the fact that I think from past 10 days I've been under the weather. So there's been cough, there's been a lot of influenza, and when I went to the doctor, I told him that hey, you know what, so this is happening, and he was like, you know what, it's an allergy. And when I was like, okay, allergies happen every single year, but what's different this year that I'm not getting well, because otherwise with influenza, it will only take you 5 to 6 days, and that you will get better. But he was like, because there was no rain, because when I fell ill, there was no rain and nothing else as well. But there's been an explosion of allergies, which are very different and are very potent as well. I'm going to come back to this, but we're very lucky once again that we've been joined by Ms. ZAHRA HASSAN and HAMZA Khan all the way from NDMA to speak about weather and what needs to be done and what sort of advices are being launched as well. Thank you so much, Ms. ZAHRA and Mr. HAMZA Khan, for joining us. Wonderful to have you over here. So first things first, I would want you to kind of give our audiences update about how the pre-monsoon rains and the monsoon rains are going to hit Pakistan and how we really need to be prepared.
Okay. Well, according to National Emergency Operations Center (NDMA), we foresee that the Pakistan monsoon 2025 it is expected to begin around 26th to 27th of this month, and it will continue until mid of September. And this monsoon, it will bring above normal rainfall or precipitation and above average temperature, that is more than the usual temperature across much of the country. And there are the multiple triggering points involved behind this whole phenomena. That there are some scientific terms like the ENSO, the Indian Ocean Dipole. There are some warmer sea surface temperature. So they all anticipate the above average temperature during this monsoon in Pakistan.
Wonderful. And, in addition to this, let's speak about how do you think that resilient policies are being put in place where we could ensure the safety of the flora and fauna and the people and their belongings?
Well, in case of the resilience or the preparedness on the behalf of the NDMA, we do have a response wing which exercise all of this mapping of the entire machinery and all of the preparedness sectors. They are prepared at beforehand the onset of this monsoon, and we also develop a mobile app which is named as the Park NDMA Disaster Alert. It is available on both the iOS and Android version. We issue the advisory, the projection, the alert for the timely projections and for the timely response.
And Zahra, what are the precautions that the public can take during this time? Because there are floods in ground level areas, and then there's landslides in northern areas where tourists go. And then of course we have our agriculture, which is very precious, and it gets destroyed by the monsoon rain. So what advice do you have for the public regarding these three elements?
Okay, well, if we compare the casualties with regards to the previous monsoon, so we have seen that most of the casualties, they have been reported because of the weak structures. So what we offer and what we advise to the general public, that please do not go to the weak structures areas, nearby weak structures areas, and also avoid to travel to the hilly areas, particularly during the rainfall season. So these are the two main precaution measures that anyone can take it timely, and also stay alert. Like they should stay alert with the weather forecast. They should follow whatever the other department, relevant department, they foresee and they project, and they give advice to the general communities, particularly in case of the rainfall across the country.
Exactly. Well, that's wonderful, Zahra, and I do believe that, you know, that Hamza is actually a very well contributing member of your team, and I would like to speak to him as well if you allow me to ask him a question. So, Hamza, I'm going to speak about, you know, the ENSO forecast. First of all, you know, the El Nino trend that we do see, you know, and not just that, I think we'll come back towards the other aspects later on, you know, and the first and the foremost important is, what is the mobile app's name? How can people download it, and what is the number in case if we do feel that we really need to reach out NDMA? Please go ahead and share it with our viewers.
So you can just go onto the Play Store or the iOS App Store and download the app and turn on the notifications, and you'll get all the alerts regarding monsoon and any other upcoming disasters which Ma'am Zahra and her team has been projecting. And that's pretty much it.
What is the name of the application, Hamza?
It's the NDMA Alert app.
NDMA Alert app, and it is available on Play Store and iOS as well. Yes, that's exactly what you said.
And you know, some new audit guidelines have been shared with the public. So what is being done to ensure that we follow these guidelines?
So basically, we've uploaded the guidelines on the NDMA website, and we've been establishing a project management unit in the NDMA headquarters. Furthermore, we've established provincial infrastructure resilient audit units in the PDMAs, which are the provincial disaster management authorities, which are helping to capacity build and train the DDMAs and the community members to carry out the audits on their own. And we are preparing a repository in the headquarters so the decision making can be effective.
And secondly, what exactly is the Infrastructure Resilience Index, and how can the public and the communities access this and understand what it is?
And what is the infrastructure audit? Please explain.
So basically, we've devised a mechanism called infrastructure audit. The purpose is to identify any weaknesses and deficiencies in the existing structures, such as homes, buildings, bridges, anything which comes under the infrastructure head, and to give certain upgrades and maintenance measures which can be used to mitigate the effects of disaster. So under this mechanism, we have developed an infrastructure resilience index. The purpose of this index is so we can categorize where the structure lies. I mean, the probable maximum loss which the structure can face in terms of any hazard that's approaching. If you ask about the communities, so we are translating or transliterating basically this initiative in the regional languages, so people can themselves study and we can capacity build them so they can carry out all the audits on their own.
Exactly. And one last question from Ms. Zahra. So Ms. Zahra, coming back to you, obviously for all of these policies to be in place and, you know, making sure that there are infrastructure audits and that, you know, that we are actually giving away notifications to people, and that there's an application, people can actually check whether what's going to happen. One last question, that is that the last time that I was in conversation with the chairman NDMA, he spoke and said that people need to understand our role, that our role is post-disaster. Do you think that we really need to come to terms with how we can avoid these disasters in days to come? Do you think NDMA is moving in that direction?
Yes, a very pertinent and important question. Yes, NDMA has completely transformed its approach. That is from reactive to the proactive approach. Initially, we just, when the disaster strike out, we responded. That was a reactive approach. But now we have the capability under the same leadership to forecast any kind of disaster, not only in Pakistan, but across the globe with an accuracy of like more than 70-80%. We have already tested for the different South Asian and regional countries. And we have also already many success stories, like last year's the heat wave phenomena. There were no casualties in the southern districts as compared to the other regional countries. And this year, we have already a very detailed analysis for the monsoon, even for the transboundary projections with regards to the riverine flooding. And we have reduced the losses up to 40%, alhamdulillah, by the help of all of these youngsters and the subject matter specialist at National Emergency Operations Center.
I think that's wonderful. Thank you so much, Ms. Zahra, for being with us, and thank you so much, Mr. Hamza. And next time I'm going to recommend, Hamza, that you smile a bit too as well. I think it will look a little relieving on television. But very quickly, coming back to the same point where I was saying that there were so many allergies out there. Now imagine that the United Nations World Meteorological Organization has found that a shifting climate, which we were talking about already, is affecting allergy patients in multiple ways. And how? Rising levels of carbon dioxide, one of the main heat-trapping gases produced by burning fossil fuels, boost plant growth, which in turn increasing pollen production. As a result, experts have warned of an explosion of allergies as climate change lengthens and intensifies pollen seasons.
That is something that we all need to be on the lookout for. And not just this, tensions are boiling up in the Middle East and between the US and Israeli skies are on Iranian nuclear skies. Joining us to break this down is Air Vice Marshal
IJAZ Malik Saab. Sir, thank you so much for joining us. Wonderful to have you over here. How are you doing, sir?
Alhamdulillah, fine.
So thank you so much, first of all, sir. So I think what I would want you to do is, rather than me asking you questions, why don't you break it down for us? What is happening in between Israel and Iran as of now?
Just very briefly, having a recap of what exactly happened. This was an American-sponsored aggression on the pretext of preemption against Iran by Israel. And it continued for almost 10 days. And in between, America has been, trying to persuade Iran that they should come to terms with the situation and abandon their supposedly whatever nuclear capability they have, and they should come to terms with the Israeli demands. Obviously, Iranian leadership, as a sovereign state, they didn't agree to that, and then it comes America physically into the war, wherein they have launched a massive strike over 3 nuclear facilities of Iran.
And that's exactly, sir, which I don't get. This is mind-boggling. Now imagine that the President Trump has been saying that we are going to take 2 weeks to decide whether we are going to unfortunately bomb Iran or not, and then here comes an overnight strike, and that too on their nuclear facility. How do you see this strike, first of all? And just very quickly, Pakistan has condemned the US attack launched the night of 22 June on Iranian nuclear facilities. Ministry of Foreign Affairs has issued clear statement about it, please.
Yes, obviously it has to be like that Pakistan has a principled stance about this entire conflict, and we have shown and reiterated our resolve that we stand by with our Iranian brothers on that. And because if you accept this stance otherwise of Israel and America, then how can we justify Indian aggression? They would also take the precedence from the same right of preemption. So it is a principled stance.
Exactly, and thank you so much, sir, for mentioning about principled stance, because obviously we do live in an era of an you know, fake news, their deep fakes and whatnot, and we do see videos and footages and tweets which certainly are baseless. Now imagine that Pakistan has not allowed any use of its airspace, land or water space to be used against Iran in any of the attacks by US or Israel. That's one principal stance that I'm going to kind of submit with what you have mentioned. Now, let me come to a point
Yes,
where...
just to, sorry, to add, the assets which were utilized for these strikes over 3 Iranian facilities, they were from Indian Ocean region, and it necessarily does not need Pakistani assistance or use of Pakistan airspace. So it was ridiculous on the part of, I would say, the Indian propaganda who wanted to malign Pakistan into this issue.
Exactly, and sir, which is why, you know, I think just because of the fact that I am thinking this way, it's not really that, you know, that it should be this way as well. First of all, we do see how, you know, we saw India's aggression against Pakistan, that was baseless in the Pahalgam false flag attack. Then unfortunately, we do see how overnight Israel starts to attack Iran. And do you think that, you know, that the superpower is actually going against nuclear powers, or probably powers who can or have the potential of becoming a nuclear power?
Actually, as the history of this nuclear club goes, it was, and they always wanted it to be like that, an exclusive club, which was primarily for those powers which emerged victorious after the Second World War, essentially the P5. And then we see 3 more countries who, you know, at their own or out of compulsion, they also developed these facilities, but very much to the dislike of this elite club. So they were and they still are not comfortable with even Pakistan's nuclear status. So, and that is primarily because of their biases towards a Muslim country having that capability. So they would not like another Muslim country which in fact also the situation gets compounded once they put a lens of the regime in Iran, that they not only see the capability of Iran militarily in the conventional or strategic terms, but they see the regime itself as a threat to them, because they want that such a regime which is, to their reckoning, a clergy-centric regime, that's not suitable for them.
And we truly get it. And sir, where I was talking about misinformation and disinformation, we are constantly sharing images with our viewers out there as well as to what is fake and what is not fake as well. So I would want everybody to kind of take a good look at them. Now, sir, where you brought the attention towards regime change. Now, imagine that Israel keeps on bombing Iran to let their people know that, hey, you know what, your regime or the person, Khomeini Saab, is actually somebody who you shouldn't have as supreme leader. Now, imagine that the people of Iran are not naive, they are not fools, and they know that what has been going on for the longest period of time, may it be with US or may it be with Israel or may it be with Iran. Do you think that this very story of regime change will be bought by international media or international agencies, where Netanyahu has always been labeled as now the criminal by the International Court of Justice, human rights violator?
Well, to have a choice of government or the leadership, it resides with the people of any country.
Yep.
While there may be some differences, there are, even any democratic system, there are opposition. That's a part of the political system, and this is up to the people to decide. So who is America being the sole superpower, or Israel to dictate or, desire to have a regime change? So, I think, having said that, now with the very fast changing environment, if America or Israel, they do not achieve their objective, which they haven't so far, there would be a political pressure on Mr. Trump, which has already started, and there is a pressure on Mr. Netanyahu, because now Israelis, people, they are demanding, because they haven't seen such devastation in their entire history. Even in 2 Arab-Israel wars, the people of Israel, they were not affected. So now they are migrating out of Israel. So after, as a fallout of this war or conflict, it would be that there may be a regime change in Israel rather than Iran.
And another integral part of these tensions is oil, and Iran holds 20% of the world's oil. So now, because of these tensions, it is now not going to be spread out around the world how it has been. So what are the potential geopolitical and the geopolitics? How is it going to shift, and how are oil prices going to shift around the globe?
Well, while Iran has a very significant control over the Strait of Hormuz, and it was well within her capability to block even on day one of this conflict. But I must acknowledge that Iranian leadership has shown a lot of constraint. A lot of restraint, sorry. And even now, after having taken a decision, they have not implemented so far as of now to completely block this, because it entails the oil supplies. The 80% of oil to China and Pacific region, it goes from here. The 20 to 25% trade, it flows out of Strait of Hormuz. So Iran doesn't want the expansion or escalation to other countries. So probably for the time being, I think the most important and defining issue, contribution would be what role China and Russia play in this changing situation. Because they have, Russia, although it itself is busy with Ukrainian conflict, but still they are the declared strategic ally of Iran. And they have their stake in Iran, and they are, a contributor towards their nuclear program as well.
Where you actually spoke about China, obviously China has given their statement where they say that it's adding fuel to the fire. But sir, very quickly towards the end, I'm really sorry, I'm short of time. I wanted to ask you more questions as well, where how President Trump could not take an executive order in terms of where if US is actually going to be involved in war. But very quickly, one last thing, that is what should be Pakistan's stance, because we do see how 50 plus Muslim countries have abandoned Iran.
Unfortunately, where we have reached, it is because of the attitude of the Muslim countries. Because imagine if Muslim countries had the spine and they were siding with Iran, as if now America is trying to help Israel. If any of the Muslim countries which had borders with Israel, if they had mobilized their troops towards border, the situation would have changed.
Very well.
Exactly. Thank you so much, Avim Saab, sir, for being with us. Lovely to be in conversation with you. For everybody who's out there, prayers go out for our Iranian brothers and sisters as well, and that there needs to be sanity and peace needs to prevail, and there needs to be dialogue rather than conflict. Until next time, look after yourselves. It's a good morning. Have a great day. Have a great week ahead. Bye.